Welcome to the Meta Life podcast. I'm your host, Laura. Come with me on a journey for a happy and healthy life. On today's episode, we are welcoming Rhiana, and we are talking about healthy relationships. Rhiana, please tell us a bit more about you and what you do.
Thank you, Laura. I'm an international human rights expert, and as you said, I'm the founder of Springact, which stands for Action, Compassion, Technology, and we connect human rights and technology to empower individuals to take action and help eliminate global social injustices.
This is amazing. I heard about your chatbot, Sophia. What is it? How does it work? And who can use it?
Thanks. Yeah, Sophia is our first product, and it's a chatbot empowering people affected by domestic violence to take action, seek help, and gather potential evidence.
Oh, this is amazing. So who can use this chat box and how can it be used? Do you need to download it on your phone? How does it work?
I'm really glad you asked that. It's a chatbot, so it's not an app. That's really important, why we decided to do that and why it is an innovation in that sense, because with domestic violence, you have to protect yourself from someone that knows you probably best in the world and might most likely also has access to your phone. So downloading an app can put you in jeopardy, but it's a chatbot. So Sophia is there on your phone, on anyone's phone right now, on WhatsApp, Telegram, Viber, and on any browser. So you go to www.sophia.chat and you can start chatting to her. She's available 24/7. Wherever you are in the world, it doesn't matter where, completely anonymous. You can chat to her, and most importantly, without leaving a digital trace. So once you've chatted to her, you just delete the chat or you go away from the browser and she's as if she was never here.
Okay, but who can use Sophia? What kind of person can use it? Is it for women? Is it for people who have exclusively suffered from physical abuse?
Again, an excellent question. Yes, it's absolutely anyone. Absolutely anyone. It doesn't matter your gender, your age, your class, social class, your ethnicity. Anyone can use Sophia. It's completely free. And it's important that it is women, men, non-binary people can all chat to Sophia, and not just physical abuse. It's a big misconception that domestic violence, domestic abuse is just physical, but it's very often that's the last stage of domestic abuse. So it starts very often with financial abuse, emotional abuse, and so it's really important that if you have just a slightest inkling, or even if you think you're in a healthy relationship, and you just want to check, is this healthy, how my relationship is working, you can just go to Sophia. Nobody ever needs to know you've chatted to her. It's completely anonymous, like I said, and just check out what the signs are of healthy relationships or abusive relationships and what you can do.
Can you give us examples of what a healthy and unhealthy relationships are?
I can. I'm speaking from the perspective of a human rights expert, not a psychologist in that sense. So my experience is limited to the survivors that we work with and building Sophia in that sense. It's also really important to say that it's not exclusive. So I'm happy to say a few examples of healthy and unhealthy relationships. And it's not black and white. It's not just that. If that is unhealthy, this means it's healthy, and the other way around as well. So, well, where do we start? It's very often, so physical violence is what people know when your bodily integrity has been breached and you've been hit. But it's also, physical violence is also when someone throws a vase just next to your head and it breaks. So that's where most people think that domestic violence is. But very often it starts with financial abuse or emotional abuse. So when your partner tells you what you can and cannot spend, where if your partner puts all the bills in your name and all the family assets in your name, in controlling in that sense, it's very often it comes down to control and manipulation. So then emotional abuse or psychological abuse is, again, not black and white. So some examples that I can give may be unhealthy in one relationship and absolutely fine in another. So whose story I find very inspiring because she came out of it stronger, but also very good as an example to show you what abuse can be, is Mel B from the Spice Girls, who experienced all types of abuse, which is very often when you have experienced physical abuse, you probably experienced everything else leading up to that. So that's why it's so important, if you have the slightest inkling or just want to check, just do a health check of your relationship and try and stop it way before it gets there. So with Mel B, it started with her partner gifting her dresses and what to wear, which, in a healthy relationship is a beautiful thing. Oh, I saw this and you look beautiful in this dress, so I bought it for you. Absolutely healthy. But as soon as it goes into trying to control what you want to wear, that's when it becomes abusive. And it's very difficult. It's okay if you now realize, oh my goodness, this isn't healthy. That's okay. It's very difficult, even for experts, to kind of realize what is the threshold. So
for example, if my partner keeps gifting me clothes and suggesting I wear these clothes instead of the clothes I bought myself, can I go on Sophia and ask her, is my relationship healthy if my partner is gifting me clothes and asking me to wear them?
Exactly. So yeah, that's one of the things you can do on Sophia. You can go and look, what are the types of abuse? So what is coercive control? So it's actually perfect the way you said it. So your partner, she or he, can buy you clothes. That's wonderful. But it's then, instead of wearing your clothes, that's when it becomes into the murky territory.
Okay, so that's what you consider as coercive abuse. And you also spoke about financial abuse. What is it? Does it mean I don't have any money and I can't spend it? Or is it more nuanced than this? How does it work?
Always nuanced. It depends on the relationship. It depends on, again, something can be abusive in one relationship and not in another. But one example is, you, for example, you only get a joint bank account and your partner has their separate bank account as well. And then they control all your spending, tells you what you can and what you cannot spend, especially if it's your own money, right? So you have a salary of your own and you want to spend it on that. And they tell you, no, you can't do that. You can do this. So it very often comes down to control and kind of wanting to control and manipulate you into one or the other direction. Okay.
And if you figure out that you are in a coercive, like in an abusive relationship with a partner, might be emotionally abusive or might be financially abusive, what do you do?
Yeah, you said that emotionally abusive, just one more example there as well, because it's so important to show you the nuance as well, in the sense of love can be used to manipulate you, in the sense of like, oh, you're going out with your friends again, it's because you don't love me. Or I think you shouldn't see your family anymore because, you love me more than them. You shouldn't be spending more time, or they're not, good for you, or, in that sense. Again, it can be healthy because maybe your family is toxic and you shouldn't be seeing them. But if you have a good relationship with your family, so it's just, again, this kind of, love can be used as a manipulation tool as well.
Sorry, my mic just fell.
So if you realize, or if you don't, just again, the threshold doesn't need to be that you realize you're in a relationship, an abusive relationship. Just anyone, you're in a happy relationship, just go check. Just go on Sophia, go on all the resources that are available online. How Sophia works is that she centralizes it. So you can go Google, abusive relationships or, whatever it is that you think might be wrong. But Sophia kind of centralizes that. And so you can go in and you can look at facing abuse. So there, for example, it shows you the different signs of abuse on all the different types of abuse. It also talks about, she also talks about the cycle of abuse, which is also something that is important to know, in the sense of it can be in a completely good relationship, then maybe stress happens at work of your partner, or anything can happen. It's stressful and the tension builds up and the incident happens. And then it can be that your partner is very sorry. I'm so sorry. It will never happen again. Oh my goodness. And is just really apologizing, and then overcompensates. You go and just really showers you with love and presents and is really, really sorry. And then the honeymoon phase starts. And then you say, oh, everything's wonderful. Look how beautiful. And then that's why it's the cycle of abuse. It comes back to the tension builds, and then the incident happens. They're sorry, honeymoon phase. And then the thing is that it gets shorter and shorter until your life becomes in danger.
Okay. So if a partner emotionally abuses me, it means automatically that I will also be abused physically at some point? Or could it stay only emotional abuse, for example?
It's a very good question. it's maybe it's like this, that if you have been physically abused, it's pretty much always that you have been emotionally abused before in some way or form. Like there are statistics that show that women in shelters in the UK, I think it's 95-97% who are there because they've been physically abused, which is not the threshold again, by the way, have been financially abused. But I wouldn't be able to say domestic violence is, again, so nuanced. The relationship doesn't mean that this is one and therefore A and therefore B happens. It really is dependent on the situations. But what is really, really important with health, and again, is this health check of your relationship. Mm-hmm. Just check. It doesn't need to be in any kind of, red flag, orange flag, whatever. Just, it's good to just always have that check-in. See if your relationship is healthy. It can go through unhealthy phases, or it can move into an unhealthy relationship and be great at the beginning. You can work on it. It's just important to do a health check.
And if you realize that you are in an abusive relationship, can it be salvaged, or is it automatically the end of the relationship?
Yeah, again, humans, we're very complex beings. No human is like the other. So it's different from person to person, from relationship to relationship. If the partner is a narcissist, I would run. That is very difficult.
How do you know if your partner is a narcissist?
It's very often, again, this is, I would recommend looking it up on, to get the official definition, but very often it's all about them. Like they're important, more important than you. Their feelings are more important than you. What he or she wants is more important than what you want. And then again, he or she thinks, well, it's in this scenario very often, he thinks what you're wearing is too revealing, and so he wants you to wear these. It's just like what he thinks what you should do, this kind of in this direction. But there's a better or more accurate definition on check in the dictionary.
Okay, so basically, make sure first of all you're not in a relationship with a narcissist. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, your advice is run.
My personal advice, and what I've seen in my experience is, just for me personally, what I've seen with working with survivors is that's have psychopathic tendencies. That's very difficult to salvage.
Okay. But most abusers, I would assume, are not narcissists. They are flawed human beings.
I don't know about most, but there are definitely, like you said, to come back to your question of whether you can salvage a relationship if you realize that it's abusive. Honestly, just seek help, and then take it from there. Take it step by step. That's, I find in life in general, is you just need to take one step. That's all that it needs. So just, if you're unsure or you realize it's an abusive relationship, either chat to Sophia if you're not ready to chat to anyone else yet. That's the beauty about Sophia. It's a chatbot. So, no judgment, no kind of, nobody needs to know that you've chatted to her. And then, or go to a social worker. Most places have social workers that are here literally specialized into accompany you on this journey to see whether your relationship actually, the social workers we work with, they literally have to take people out of their relationship because their life is literally in danger. And this is what's quite shocking, I find as well, is that people don't know the extent of domestic violence. You very often feel alone. So in the world, 1 in 3 women experiences domestic violence in their lifetime, 3 in 4 children. And with men, we don't know the statistics yet, but in the US, for example, it's 1 in 7. So it's really important, you're not alone. This is not, all the feelings that you have, they're validated. And you can go to the social workers that can then, on your individual journey, help you. So see, actually, why don't you both go into couples therapy? Why doesn't he go into therapy to help with aggressions or this kind of abuse? It's very possible that you can salvage it, but just don't take it as a given, because in Switzerland, right, where we're in a relatively safe country, a woman is killed every second week by her partner or ex-partner, and every week there is an attempted murder by a partner or ex-partner in Switzerland.
That is shocking. Yeah.
So I'd rather, with that in mind, if you love your partner, he's maybe the love of your life, or she's the love of your life, she might be the mother of your children, he might be the father of your children, just go and check in. It doesn't mean if you go to a social worker or you chat to Sophia that tomorrow you need to pack your bags and go and never speak to him again or her again. Just
okay. And so if Sophia thinks I'm in an abusive relationship, what kind of advice will she give me? What can I expect from her? And what are the resources she's offering?
Yeah, that's really important. So the way we've built Sophia is that the agency is always with you. So Sophia does not push you to do anything, doesn't tell you, bow, red flag, go. The agency is always with you. So she shows you the different signs of abuse that you can realize what is right, healthy, and what is not. She walks you through what you need to know about when you want to leave. Again, doesn't push you to leave. That's really important. Just if you're ready to leave, this is what you do. Get an emergency bag ready, your important documents, items that make you feel safe or your children feel safe, to pack that all and don't go. This is really important. Never leave when the abuser is here. Always leave when they're not. So about leaving, then when we've localized in countries, so in Switzerland, we've localized to a district level in the sense of when you say you want to look for support, she asks you, where are you? I'm in Switzerland. Where are you in Switzerland? I'm in Lausanne. In Lausanne, here are the support services that you can go and look for. These are your rights that you have as an individual, as a victim, regardless of your citizenship. So it doesn't matter. That's also really important to know in Switzerland, the support services that are available, it doesn't matter whether you are legally in the country or not, whether your visa is tied to your abusive partner, it doesn't matter. It's always safe to reach out.
Okay, this is very good and very important information. And for people who do not speak one of the national languages in Switzerland, for example, what do they do? Does Sophia speak multiple languages, and how does it work?
Yeah, this is what we're quite proud of being in addition to the support services. So that this is what Sophia is. She's a complementary service to the support services there. It's always great to talk to a human. If you feel safe and comfortable, always, I think that's wonderful. Sophia just wants to get you there, wants to lower the barrier to get you there. And one of the barriers that we try to lower with Sophia is language. So currently she speaks 12 languages, and so including Ukrainian and Farsi. So when these issues happen in this last year and a bit, we could very quickly translate her into the new languages. Soon, we're just in the middle of a whole transformation process in the back end, and soon she will be speaking 50 languages.
This is amazing. So basically, anyone, anywhere in the world can talk to her.
Yeah, exactly.
And except for talking to her, what other features does Sophia have that can keep someone safe or their documents safe?
Yeah, just to build on that, so what you said, everywhere. Exactly. Sophia is in every single country in the world. She can guide you at least to a national organization that can help you. And we're now localizing to give you citywide support as well. So in addition to that, one of actually the main and most innovative features of Sophia is what we call the digital safe. So you can open a digital safe in Sophia. It's created, I'm really proud of our tech team, the way that they've created it in a really safe and innovative way that you can then store and gather potential evidence of what is happening in your relationship. So Sophia guides you through what is, what is abuse, but then what can be considered as potential evidence. So, and how do you take that evidence? And then you can store it in your digital safe, which is completely encrypted. And it's, again, the agency is with you. Nothing happens to that until you yourself decide you want to take action.
So what kind of document, as a person who is thinking maybe I'm in an abusive relationship, would I put in the safe?
Glad, nobody's asked that before. That's really good. So again, Sophia does tell you what you can, or suggests what things that you can put in. Documents, actually, I would put in a copy of your passport, your visa if that's necessary, and your kids' documents and marriage certificate, because you might, if you leave, you might not have time to grab them all.
Okay,
that's one thing. But then she walks you through kind of how, like, what kind of evidence. So for example, bruises, if you have a bruise on your arm, take it up to your face.
Okay,
and take a picture like this so you see it's me.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it could be anyone's, right? And this is the size of it. Or generally, like, put something next to the bruise that you see how big it is.
Okay.
So pictures of that's kind of evident. But then also screenshots of threatening messages, screenshots of excessive calls. Again, it's abuse.
Free calls.
Excessive calls. So
what, 10, 20, 100?
It depends. It depends.
Okay.
It depends. So if you have 12 missed calls and it's not because of an emergency, it's just like, where were you? You should have been home at 10 and it's 10:05 and you're not here. And, it's just, a screenshot of that as well. Take a screenshot of that, because it's, again, very often it seems like, oh, he's or she's worried about me. You know, that's why they're calling him. It's like, it's a fine line. So rather take more evidence, potential evidence, than not enough. You can always delete it later on. And it's important for multiple reasons. One, the evident reason is, you know, if you do go to court and you need a divorce, or for example, if you're a migrant and your visa is tied to the abusive partner, depending on which canton you're in, again, you know, Switzerland is very different, but potentially you would be able to stay, like sever your visa and stay, but you need to prove that you're in an abusive relationship.
And for example, could I also have voice recording of disputes and things like that I could save on Sophia?
Yes. That goes into the legal territory then, whether it's admissible in court, but it's better, I advise, it's better to have these things, even if it's not admissible in court, than not just for court. Like, one is divorce and everything, but also custody hearings and all this as well might be important to have, but also for you yourself.
To remember.
Yes, because, you know, they might be really sorry after the episode, and very often you will make excuses. They were very stressed at work. They, you know, had just been laid off, or blah, blah, you know, you will make these excuses. Naturally, it's human. You know, this is, you probably love them. It's natural to make these excuses. But when you take this evidence and have it, potential evidence, and have it in your, that's why I say potential evidence. It's just, you have it in your digital safe. You can go back and like, oh, this wasn't the first time this happened. This is actually the 5th time. Should I actually go and talk to someone about this? Again, you know, just talk. Nobody can force you to do anything. It's always you that needs to make the decision, but talking about it really helps.
Okay, so to recap, if I have questions, I should chat with Sophia, just make a health check about my relationship. Then maybe there are signs that I might be in an abusive relationship. You would suggest that I upload any proof of a potential abuse on the safe that's on Sophia, and that's completely encrypted, that the abuser will never know about nor find. That's correct?
Yeah, unless the abuser sees you literally in the digital safe at that time. From a digital perspective, she needs no digital trace. So we've created decoy websites. We've done a lot of things that it's untraceable as much as we can.
And then when I'm ready, I can leave the abuser if I wish to, or go through therapy. That's for me, the victim. And now if, for example, I'm in an abusive relationship, you as my friend, what can you do? Is there hope?
Yeah, as a friend, when you see your friend is in an abusive relationship, that's really hard. And I speak out of experience there as well. And it's still quite difficult for me to talk about it, because I love my friends and they're amazing. And they can be as strong and an independent and confident women, you know, and you still fall into an abusive relationship. So,
just a side note, who are the typical victims of abuse? Because you just said you can be powerful, and in my head I had an image of what a victim looks like. So before we continue with that answer, could you please briefly explain who the typical victim is, and if there is a typical victim?
I'm really glad you asked that. 2 things, actually. And this is a debate that we have even in the team, like, we don't talk about victims, because that gives you an image, right? Like, the image is, and you can be super strong. And yes, you are a victim of domestic abuse, but you can also be a survivor. You can be someone that is impacted by domestic violence, affected by domestic abuse. So there is no typical person who is affected by domestic violence. That's kind of the scary thing about it. It doesn't matter if your ethnicity, your age, your social standing, your financial standing, it doesn't matter. Domestic violence impacts every single country in this world, every single culture. It doesn't matter if you are confident, strong, independent, or you're really an introvert and more fearful. It affects you in different ways. So an example that I usually give is a CEO that is affected by domestic violence. She might find it very difficult to leave, or even not even realize, because, hey, I lead 100 people. I'm this strong, confident woman that is, you know, but the person, her partner then abuses her at home, it's just like, how can I even admit this to myself or anyone? Whereas someone that, for example, would be a cleaning person is not in a financial situation to leave. They might realize it, but then can't leave because they don't have the financial means to support themselves. So it's very difficult, different, the abuse experience and acknowledged, and the ways to leave, the barriers to leave are very different. So unfortunately, it can happen to anyone, but that's also really important to know. It can happen to anyone. So you're not alone. It's not, you're not weak because this has happened to you. It's no, you don't need to feel shame or that you're, I don't know, done something wrong or that you failed in your relationship. It's not you. It's not you.
Yeah. So the shame belongs to the perpetrator, not the person who receives the abuse.
That's really beautifully said. It's exactly that. And it's probably normal that you do feel shame because, and blame yourself is very often, the case. We're humans, it's your world has probably been shattered. It's like, oh my goodness, probably chose this person, not always, of course. And this is happening to me. And I thought, it's probably a change of your image of yourself as well. But just know that there are so many people out there, A, who have experienced this or are experiencing it, and B, there's so many people there to help you in your surroundings, in the professional support that is available. There's so many people here ready to help you. Like, I'm here, like Sophia's here, we're here.
If you were my friend and I was in an abusive relationship, what would you do? What would you tell me? What are the steps you could take? Because maybe people listening to this podcast are not themselves in abusive relationship, but know someone who is in one.
Yeah, I guarantee anyone that is listening, I guarantee 1 in 3 women, I guarantee someone that is or has suffered from abuse. I guarantee. So look at these signs yourself. Go into Sophia, look at the signs that you can maybe help detect as well. It is very difficult if your friend is in an abusive relationship. There's 2 scenarios. A, if she or he doesn't know or acknowledge that they're in an abusive relationship, there's very little that you can do. Very, very little. Maybe actually one thing, but it came more organically, that I had in my experience, a friend who was in an abusive relationship or had just been out. She just managed to get out. And I had, just by chance, we were out having drinks with another friend who knows that she was in an abusive relationship, emotionally abusive relationship. And she herself just talked about her relationship. So, this happened to me. And not that abuse happened to me. It's like just that, this and this and this happened. And I realized this wasn't healthy. And so just talking about it in general helps. But if the person doesn't realize or doesn't acknowledge that they're in it's difficult. But if they are a little bit open, receptive, really start to talk a little bit about, I'm not quite sure if this is right, or, there are things that you can do. And actually I did, before this podcast, just quickly did talk to Sophia to see, because she has an option. So you go into Sophia, you can say, you want to learn more about facing abuse. That also means facing abuse, your friend facing abuse. And if you want to help, like, how can I help someone? And it's what I just said right now. And it's the most important thing you can do, and what Sophia says as well, is just listen.
Okay.
Listen, acknowledge, and reassure. Reassure your friend that what is she doesn't or he doesn't merit what is happening. No matter what the abuser says, probably says you deserve this. No one deserves a life with abuse. Not a single person. This is what we're fighting for with Sophia and Springact. We truly believe a life without violence is possible for everyone. So just reassure that that's, you are worthy of love. You are worthy of a healthy relationship, and then offer help. Offer help if it, whatever it is, accompany them to the police or to the doctors or whatever they need. It's good to have the knowledge of the support services available. Again, you can chat to Sophia for that. Just like, oh, by the way, there's this service, and look, you can go there and they won't, this and this and this happens. So very often you might think, oh, if I go there, that's it. So if actually you can go to the support service, it's free. This is where it is in your local city. And, they'll just talk to you and give you your options available. And then again, what Sophia says, what I find very important is empower. That's like kind of the last thing is, it's very difficult for you because you see that this is happening. It's not your decision. It's not your decision. to leave, that she
So
leaves.
you wouldn't advise a friend to say to the person who is receiving the abuse, you must leave the person, you need to pack your bags. You wouldn't do that.
That can actually have the contrary effect. If she's not ready or he's not ready, it can have it's like, I don't want to see Laura anymore because she's telling me to leave this guy that I love, right? Or this woman that I love. So no, don't. You can't tell her to leave or him to leave. I would strongly advise against it. Ask questions to kind of plant the seed of, this is not great, what's happening. Offer support to go to these different places, but you can't. It has to be their decision whether to leave or not. It's nothing you can do.
Okay, so listen, ask questions, and be there for when the day comes that they are ready to leave the abuser.
Yes, exactly. So that means also, like, if you want, I can keep an emergency bag in my, but only if you want. Like, again, not pushing you in any direction, just support, reassure, be there for them.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Before we end the serious part of the episode, is there anything else you would like to add to this discussion?
Yes, actually, based on what I said of the prevalence of domestic violence, I just want you to know that if you're in a relationship like that, that you just know that you're not alone, that we hear you, that we see you, and most importantly, we believe you, even though it doesn't always have that.
This is very touching. I'm very touched. I'm sure many people who are listening to this podcast might relate to this. We believe you. We know that you are saying the truth, and there are options for you to be happy and to have a better life. So now I think it's time to conclude the very serious part and to have a little bit of fun, because that was a very serious and deep conversation. And I want the listeners to get to know you as Rhiana a bit better. So I would love to know, what for you is the most important thing in your life?
Most important thing in my life, I'd say my family.
This is gorgeous. And what do you want most out of this life?
What I want most out of this life is impact in big and smaller scales. Impact in wanting to leave the world in a better place than before I was here, but impact also in my daily interactions. So impact is one of my core values. So making sure that, trying that every interaction matters, that you're a little bit better off having interacted with me than before, even if that's as small as a smile or paying for a coffee for someone that can't afford it or anything.
Oh, this is beautiful. And can I please ask you to finish these sentences? The world needs more of
compassion.
I agree. I couldn't agree
Definitely.
more. And I'm grateful for.
Honestly, I'm grateful for everything, the good and the bad. You can grow so much from both, and I really do. I'm just so grateful for life, basically.
This is beautiful. This is very beautiful. So there is hope for everyone, absolutely everyone.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. Life is beautiful.
And on a very easy note, tea or coffee?
Tea. I don't drink coffee.
Sweet or salty?
Salty.
And if there was one meal I could cook for you, or one dish I could cook for you, what would it be?
Oh, you have so many amazing dishes. Oh, I'd say my favorite is your homemade blueberry tarts.
That's a deal. After the podcast.
Wonderful.
Does that sound good for you?
That sounds wonderful.
Fabulous. So, I appreciate you being on the podcast, and I'm very, very grateful for you to so generously share your time and your expertise with us. Rhiana, thank you for taking the time to be here and talk to us. I hope to see you very soon again.
Thank you, Laura.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.